Hello class. Today we are going to study about the topic hydrogen peroxide. In our previous classes we studied about hard water, soft water, the types of hardness, how we can remove the hardness, okay, of water. Now today we are going to study about hydrogen peroxide, which has got the molecular formula as H2O2. Now we can prepare hydrogen peroxides by two methods. One is from sodium peroxide. Another is by the action of dilute sulfuric acid on barium peroxide. So first is from sodium peroxide, and this process is also known as Mark's process. In this process, what will happen? Sodium oxide, sodium peroxide, okay, sodium peroxide is treated with sulfuric acid at a temperature of 273 Kelvin. It will form sodium sulfate and hydrogen peroxide. And the second method is by the action of dilute sulfuric acid on barium peroxide. So when you have got a barium peroxide, say for hydrated barium peroxide, when treated with sulfuric acid, it forms barium sulfate, hydrogen peroxide, and water. So by these two methods, we can prepare hydrogen peroxide. Structure of hydrogen peroxide. So the structure of hydrogen peroxide is somewhat like this, where we have got the two oxygen in between the two hydrogen. This we call is a peroxide linkage, and the actual structure looks like this. Now chemical reactions of hydrogen peroxides, this is very important. So the first is what happens when hydrogen peroxide reacts with potassium iodide. So when hydrogen peroxide reacts with potassium iodide, it forms potassium hydroxide and iodine. Similarly, when hydrogen peroxide reacts with lead sulfide PBS, it forms when it reacts with PBS, that is lead sulfide and hydrogen peroxides, it forms lead sulfate and water. And when it treated with acidified ferrous sulfate solution, hydrogen peroxide reacts with ferrous sulfate solution in the acidic medium or with sulfuric acid, it forms ferric sulfate and water. Okay, you need to remember the equations. Next, what happens when hydrogen peroxide reacts with acidified KMnO4 solution, potassium permanganate? So when hydrogen peroxide reacts with the potassium permanganate solution in presence of sulfuric acid, it forms potassium sulfate, magnesium sulfate, water, and oxygen. And lastly, when hydrogen peroxide reacts with chlorine, it forms hydrogen chloride and oxygen gas. Today's assignment number 9. Question number 1. Write the balance equation for the preparation of hydrogen peroxide from sodium peroxide and barium peroxide. You need to write down the balance equation. Question number 2. Draw the structure of hydrogen peroxide. And question number 3, we have got write the equation of hydrogen peroxide with the following: potassium iodide, lead sulfide, acidified ferrous sulfate, and acidified KMnO4 solution. So complete this assignment and send it in my mail.